All right, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. OBS crashed, the program I use to stream these shows. So sorry about that, but it's back on now. So if you refresh your screen, you'll be able to see it. I'll type it out for you too. All right, Jared, go ahead and then wrap it up. I got to get to the next caller.
Yeah, this is it. But basically, their defensive player ran into the runner as he was going to third after the single down center field.
Yeah.
And it drew what is a stupid rule, in my opinion. It should be reviewable, where where a runner interferes with the defensive player trying to make a play, it's an out.
Okay.
But the defensive player knew he wasn't going to get to it, so he intentionally ran into the runner, and it drew the third out. Like, that is just, like, the worst officiating series I've seen this season in terms of baseball. Just really terrible.
Yeah. Well, it happens. But anyway, thanks for the call, Jared.
Yep.
All right. Sorry about that. The program I use to stream these videos crashed. It's back up now, though. If you just refresh the screen, you should see it. Without a problem. Yeah. So,
more phone calls?
Anyway, 706-510-6817. If you want to go ahead and be on the show. Jared was complaining about officiating in a college baseball game. If I had any bleach out here, I'd probably drink it, but I don't. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou, too.
Do my ears deceive me, Lou? Did I hear you tell Jared that this is the last week that you're doing the Power Stick stuff? Where the hell is Sunbelt Week? This is ridiculous. I've been a loyal subscriber for 3 years. I've been waiting on this Sunbelt video, and it's just been a constant waiting ordeal, and I'm sick of it. I thought this was our chance to get into the mainstream, get on the Uncle Lou show, and I just years of disappointment. It's just getting put on the back burner. Everyone laughs at me when I say, "Oh, the Power Stick." This is the Power Stick. No, it's the Power Stick. We got the Sunbelt. I'm so sick of it. I am so tired of all of
Stop trolling me!
Say, I've got to go. Goodbye. I love you.
Well, he's mad that I'm not doing a Conference USA week. Of course, two things. Even though he hung up, two things I'll let you know, sir, because without question, you will watch this back. It's the only reason you call, so you can watch it later and hear yourself. Two things, though. Number A, after I'm done with SEC week, there will be a video or three about independent teams and non-Power 5 teams. I have said that. Number B, you mentioned you've been waiting for a long time. Don't worry. Waiting is probably the best thing that you do. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, good morning.
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick here.
What's up, Michael Vick?
That's right. It's me, Michael Vick, live for you on VicTube today.
Whee!
Okay. So anyway, what I want to start with is that I'm gonna be doing some traveling soon, so I will be missing the next several streams.
What are you traveling to Alabama and there's no internet or what?
No, traveling to where there's no internet. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Summertime's a great time to do some travel. Uncle Lou be doing some too here over the next month or two. So, no big deal, sir.
Yep.
I do appreciate you calling and letting me know,
yeah.
though, because I'm going to be honest. If I did 2, 3, 4 shows, something like that, and didn't hear from you, I'd be alarmed. So I'm glad you let me know.
All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is that the UGA men's track and field team are national champions.
That's right. First time ever, I believe, if I remember reading that right. So Yep, all these other SEC teams can get on their knees, assume the position, bow down, you know the rest, to the kings of track and field, the University of Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay. All right. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is that the SEC has the best worst team of any worst team in any other conference. Would you agree with that?
The best worst team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that
yeah.
was true. I don't know. Tennessee. I don't know. Tennessee may have been the worst Power 5 team last year. I know Oregon State was terrible.
Well,
Kansas was terrible. Rutgers was terrible. Illinois was terrible. But Tennessee could give any of those teams a run for their money in terms of being the most terriblest.
Yeah, this thing I was going to say that, Tennessee was probably better than North Carolina and Illinois and Kansas.
No way they were better than no way they were better than North Carolina. I don't believe that. Maybe Kansas, maybe Illinois, maybe Rutgers. That would be close. Maybe Oregon State.
And maybe Oregon State. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, North Carolina won one ACC game, and Tennessee also won one ACC game. So.
Yeah. Now, it depends how you look at this too. In November, Tennessee was the worst team in America, period. If you look at it over the course of the whole season and you say, well, Tennessee beat Georgia Tech, so yep, and all that, then that's a different argument. But Tennessee, Tennessee couldn't have beat its way out of a wet paper sack the last few weeks in November. I mean, once Georgia put that 41-0 beat down on them, we took their soul.
Their season was over.
Yeah, that was it. We took their soul. We were like Pharaoh in that movie Moses from what's that famous book called that a lot of people like to read?
So you mean Exodus?
Well, that's like a chapter in the book. What's the book called?
The Bible?
The Bible, yeah. You know how the Pharaoh in there in that movie Moses took the firstborn child of all the Egyptians? We went into Knoxville and we took the firstborn child.
Yeah, well, technically, Exodus is a book because it's called the Book of Exodus. So.
And if I wanted to read the Book of Exodus, which book would I need to get?
The Bible.
Gotcha. I'm writing this down too because it sounds like you know what you're talking about. Exodus book, Bible. Okay. What's next on the agenda today, Mr. Vic?
All right. Well, next I'll talk about how the SEC definitely had the two best teams, better than any two best teams from any other conference.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'm with you 100%.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tennessee is going 3-9 next year. What do you think about that?
3-9. Whoo, that would be. Listen, if they go 3-9, they seriously should just disband their program. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see that happening. I actually think they get close to 6 wins. But if they were to, no one would be happier than me though if they went 3-9. That would be unbelievable. That would be amazing.
I don't know. Well, Kentucky did it.
Oh, it can definitely be done. And believe me, if there's a way to do it, Tennessee will figure it out.
Yeah, Kentucky did it. Yeah, Kentucky did it, in 2012 and 2013. Kentucky went 0-8 back to back.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
All right, Mr. Vic.
They've gotten better from that since then.
Yeah, they've gotten a little better, yeah. They got Coach Stoops over there and turned them around and winning on about 7.5 games a year. Everything like that.
Yep, that's right.
But I appreciate the call, Mr. Vic. Now listen. Now, when are you going on vacation? Now, is this the last call we're gonna get from you for a while, or is the vacation a little bit down the road, or
no,
what?
I'm leaving on Wednesday.
Leaving on Wednesday. Oh my God. Well, hopefully you can join us tomorrow night on the 10 o'clock stream, and we'll give you a proper farewell tomorrow on the 10 o'clock at night stream.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Vic. Thank you for the call, sir. 706-510-6817 if you want to be on the Uncle Lou Show. Now's a good time to do it. It's SEC week. If you want to talk about SEC, this is the perfect time to do it. Of course, if you call and you get through, what we talk about is up to you. I should have thought of a question that I made everybody answer like I did last time. I like doing that. I know what the question is going to be. I want to know who's going to finish third in each division in the SEC. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou here.
Hey, Lou. Okay, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, and I know you missed this question because I just said it as I was answering the phone with you, but last week when people called in, I had a question that I made everybody answer. It was who's going to win the Big Ten or whatever, and I just now came up with one for today's show, and the question is, I need to know from every caller who is finishing third in each division in the SEC. So who's going to be third in the East? Who's going to be third in the West?
I'm going to go west, Mississippi State.
I like that.
And east, I got Georgia and South Carolina. Wow. I'm going to go kind of off base and go Kentucky.
Yeah, that third spot in the East is a hard one to come up with. But anyway, I appreciate you playing along. But what's going on today?
I just wanted to talk a little bit about your favorite person of all time, Butch Jones.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go back to that 2015 season. Do you think, like, if the Oklahoma and Florida game had went the way it should have, do you think his career could have been a lot different here?
Had he won those two games in 2015, those were huge games. It's possible that could have improved recruiting. And
yeah, I mean, you know.
So yes,
go ahead.
In theory, I do think that could have made a difference. The problem is most Tennessee fans and that I talked to agree that recruiting wasn't really his problem. It was, coaching and in-game management and stuff like that. So I'm not sure. I don't know. That's a tough question, and it's hard to say. I think if he would have won the SEC or the East in 2015, he probably would have got a pass on last year, and he may have with those wins.
Well, I kind of understood how the Oklahoma game got away because from the middle of the third quarter on, their offensive line was just getting its head handed to them, and there wasn't much we can do on offense. But that Florida game, our last possession when we had a 3rd and 6 and he had Josh Dobbs take a knee, I'll never get over that one, man.
Yeah, and you know what's weird is, I mean, just trying to be as honest as I can, Oklahoma was a way better team than Tennessee. And y'all almost beat them. And then I look at the Florida team that year, and Florida wasn't that good, and you struggled. And that was what Butch Jones' problem was. Losses to South Carolina that cannot be explained. You're the best team Tennessee's had since 2007 with Josh Dobbs, all those guys. And you go into Columbia and lose to a below 500. They finished 6 and 7 South Carolina team. I mean, that kind of stuff is unacceptable. And the East was on the line. All you had to do was beat South Carolina and Vanderbilt, and you win the East, and it just fell apart. So I don't know. Butch Jones, it would have been nice for him to have those two kind of signature wins in 15, but I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference in the long run.
Well, you may be right. And I got one more question I'm dying to know from you, dude.
All right.
Who you for that Florida-Auburn baseball game tonight?
Florida and Auburn.
Yeah, they play game 3 in the Super Regional, and the winner goes to Omaha.
Yeah. I'll go with the SEC East. Give me the Gators.
All righty, man. All right, Lou. Enjoy the heck out of your stuff, man.
All right, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Hoghead checking in. I'm sure y'all recognize his name from the comment section. I see him in there. Quite a bit. You know, some people, these hypothetical questions, I enjoy them. I like doing them. It makes you think, you know, and there's a lot of different ways you can go with those sorts of things, too. Obviously, those would have been 2 huge wins for Tennessee that year, and Tennessee had both those games won, or appeared to anyway, late in those games, and they both got away. But hard to say how much impact that would have had overall for, you know, in the long run, 2 years down the road. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou, too.
Morning, Uncle Lou. It's Bender Rodriguez here.
What's up, Bender?
Well, actually, no, I thought I wanted to say something, but it sounded bad in my head.
Okay. Well,
anyway, good morning.
Instead of that, then tell us who's finishing 3rd in the East and who's finishing 3rd in the West.
That's a tough one. Well, of course, I agreed with the last guy. He said Mississippi's going to be 3rd in the West, but shoot. East, shoot.
That's hard.
I'm going to have to throw a curveball. I'm going to say Florida.
Yeah, I have a feeling Florida might surprise some people this year, too, and get back to the... I mean, I got to figure Florida's good for at least 8 or 9 wins, and I think that's going to be good enough for 3rd in the East, maybe even 2nd if they could find a way to beat South Carolina. And it's weird to me that Mississippi State is getting so much respect in the West because, according to Florida Fan, the only good thing about Mississippi State was Dan Mullen, and he's in Gainesville. So I find it's odd to me that Mississippi State is getting all this hype heading into the season. It's a real head scratcher.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you said in your video today, they're calling Dan Mullen. Oh, Lou, he's a quarterback whisperer, Lou. They're right. He's a quarterback whisperer on a team with barely any quarterbacks to whisper.
Yeah, now if Dan Mullen could have brought Nick Fitzgerald with him to Gainesville and, I don't know, found 5 or 6 good defensive players somewhere, then Florida might have a chance in the East this year, but they don't.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to ask you a question, Lou.
Yeah, what's up?
Are you listening?
Oh, yeah, I'm here, man. Go ahead.
All right. Who do you think would win in a roast battle between a Vanderbilt fan and a Kansas fan?
Oh, my God. That would probably come down to the participants because neither one of those teams would really be able to say anything about football. So you'd have Kansas fan bragging about basketball. You'd have Vanderbilt fan bragging about baseball. But you know what? I'm going to give the edge here to Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt has had more good seasons in basketball than Kansas has had good seasons in baseball. Obviously, Kansas is a great basketball school. Vanderbilt's a great baseball school. But I give the edge to Vanderbilt when you flip it around. So I'm going to go with Vandy there.
Yeah, not to mention in football, at least Vanderbilt can win more than one game a year.
Oh, yeah, Vanderbilt, you know, especially from James Franklin up through Derek Mason, has been, you know, at least a threat to get to a bowl game every single year. I mean, you look at Kansas over the last 15 years, there's a lot of 1- and 2-win seasons.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to let you know next week I might not be coming around to Lou too because I won't be down in Destin for the entire week.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'll be.
Resort on the bay.
Yeah,
on the bay. It's got a lazy river. We got our own hot tub.
Oh,
it's supposed
sweet.
to be really good.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I'll be heading down to Florida in July. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do about this show while I'll probably still do the show while I'm there. I just won't have this whole it'll just be streamed from my phone probably. I probably won't even take phone call. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, but anyway.
I was just about to ask you. You probably won't take phone calls?
I don't know. I mean, I can easily get a hold of another cell phone. Yeah, if I do the show, I'll take phone calls for sure. But I won't have like all these graphics and everything because this is ran through a desktop computer in my grandma's basement, and I can't take that with me to Florida. So I would probably just stream the show live from one cell phone and then take phone calls on a second phone is what I'll do. But that's in July. I got plenty of time to worry about that. But yeah.
So there was one more thing I wanted to tell you, but I forgot what it was. So I'm just gonna get right to what I wanted to say last. Maybe I'll think about it. But while I think about it, I just want to ask you. Like, I just want to say I'm sorry if I was annoying you last week with all the urinating tree stuff.
Oh no, you're not ignoring me. I annoy myself because I don't like to lie to people, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But people are all the time saying, check this out, and I have every intention of checking all that stuff out whenever I say I'm gonna check it out. But then sometimes I forget it, and it makes me feel bad. Like, I'll be honest, I still haven't watched a urinating tree video, and it just makes me feel bad. You're not annoying me. If I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I want to do it, but sometimes I just forget. But I am going to check it out. But I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to lie to you again and say I'm going to watch it tonight or I'm going to watch it before Tuesday night stream or whatever. I'm just going to promise you that sometime between now and the start of football season, I promise you I will take an hour at some point, maybe even when I'm on vacation at the beach, sitting out in the sun or whatever, and I'll watch an hour's worth of urinating trees videos, and then I promise you I will come on YouTube with a full-fledged urinating tree review for you.
All right.
All right, man.
All right. I remembered what I wanted to tell you.
Okay.
I remember what I wanted to. Wait, do we have the time?
Oh yeah, man. We got nothing but time.
Like, where are you? Okay. Do you, how would you agree with me would you agree with me if I said Jeremy Pruitt is going to be the Urban Meyer of the SEC? Would you agree with me?
No. No.
And why not? And why not?
Urban Meyer has multiple national titles and is one of the best head coaches in college football. Jeremy Pruitt's never coached a single game. So, and Tennessee is not Florida or Ohio State.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. No one's gonna win at Tennessee like Urban Meyer won at Florida or is currently winning at Ohio State. Not gonna happen.
I was just about to say. I mean, it's Tennessee. It's not guaranteed that you're gonna win a championship if you're coaching for Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you got to stop blaming the coaches. I mean, you blamed or they blamed Philip Fulmer from the year 2000 to the year 2007. Then they blamed Dooley. Then they blamed Kiffin. Then they blamed Butch Jones. And in a couple of years they'll be blaming Jeremy Pruitt. I mean, at some point you might just have to come to the realization that Tennessee is an 8 to 9 win program, and that if a coach wins 8 or 9 games every couple of years, that's pretty good.
All right. Well, it's 3:41. I feel like I've wasted enough of your time today, so I'm gonna leave you here.
All right, I appreciate
maybe tomorrow night.
All right.
You listen what the general tell you now.
Yeah, I got to figure out what I'm gonna do when I go to Florida. I got to making videos and uploading them is no problem. It's the live shows I'm gonna have to try to figure out. I would like to still keep the daytime show going even while I'm down there. The nighttime shows I may not do. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou here.
What's up? My name's Mark Johnson. I'm sure you know who I am, right?
Yeah, I do. I know exactly who you are.
Yeah, okay. It's SEC week, if I'm correct. So can I just talk about what I think is going to happen? I am a 5-star caller, by the way, but just saying. Anyway, to continue on here, can I say what I think will happen to the SEC this year?
5-star caller.
Okay, so I think that Vanderbilt, they got elite running back. They're going to win the national championship. Okay.
Okay.
They're going to beat. Yeah. Okay. You can write this down if you like.
I beat you to it. I'm already doing it. 5-star caller.
Okay.
Vandy national title.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Do you have? Are you calling right now?
Yep. I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay. So I think they're gonna destroy Alabama. I think we're gonna have a score of something around 63-10 or something like that. Okay. I'm a Oklahoma State fan. Okay. I don't think Oklahoma State's gonna win the national championship anymore. I think they will go to the national championship with Vanderbilt though. Maybe get edged out a little bit. Okay.
Right.
And again, I just gotta say this every time I call in. I think Oklahoma sucks. Just gotta put that out there because I don't like Oklahoma. I'm just saying that real quick. All right. And I think Alabama's they're gonna destroy Georgia. Okay. Like 56-10 or whatever. But there's going to be SEC bias, so Vanderbilt, Georgia, and Alabama are going to get into the playoffs, all from the SEC bias that's in the playoff committee here, okay?
Hold on. Slow down 1 second. Slow down 1 second. I'm not going to lie. That was a curveball there when you said 3 SEC teams are making the playoff, and I fell behind with the writing this down. So hold on just a second, okay? Alabama.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, sir.
Vandy. Georgia. All 3 making the playoff. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that Vanderbilt will land the first round NFL draft pick for whoever he is. Whoever it is will win the first round pick. Okay.
Yep.
And they're really good with Nick Saban. I mean, you cannot disagree with me here. They're gonna win a lot of games this year, like they do every year.
You're saying Nick. So you're saying Nick Saban is a good coach.
He's a great coach. I never said Alabama sucked because they're gonna make the playoffs still, like I said. But coach, he's gonna win a lot of games, but he is not going to beat Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt is going to install a legendary dynasty. And Russell Westbrook at quarterback. I mean, whoever he is, yeah, they're going to do a really good job.
James Harden.
And I think James Harden's running back. No. Whoever the running back is, it really doesn't matter. He's so good because it's Vanderbilt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just they're going to do so. Absolutely, they're going to do so well. And I think they just got a really good shot. Maybe even winning 3 national championships in a row. And in Tennessee, I think next year we'll really have a chance to win a national title because the Volunteers, they have a really good shot, and I think they will win a lot of games next year. Maybe not this year. It's going to be sort of like what Georgia head coach did last year. I mean, on his first year, you know what the Georgia head coach on the first year, he didn't have a very good year, but the next year he went to the playoffs and went to the national championship. You know what I'm talking about?
Playoffs, went to the national championship. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the year after that, I think Miami is going to go ahead and make a run out with Mark Richt, legendary head coach at Georgia, and he just did so well. You know, he lost to Georgia very important games, which I just love to watch. I mean, he's one of the best head coaches of Georgia. I wish he could go back to Georgia. I can't even roll out Kansas winning a few 5-star recruits either next year. I mean, that's just a complete possibility there. And Auburn is going to be very good too. I think they're going to have a 9-win season. I did think they were going to go to the national championship, but now I had dreams. I had just amazing dreams that told me that they were not going to do that. Okay. So yeah.
All right. Are you ready to answer? Are you ready to answer today's? Are you full yet? You ready to answer today's trivia question?
Yes, I am ready.
All right. You sure? All right. Here you go. Today's trivia question, and you only have 5 seconds to answer. Okay. If you get it right, you get a free Uncle Lou shirt. Are you ready?
Yes.
What is your favorite way to eat a potato?
I like to heat it up and eat it with my hands.
No, not only did you not get the answer in time, the answer was wrong. But better luck. Better luck next week, though. Better luck next week, though. Yeah, 706-510-6817 if you want to gather all your friends around and call Uncle Lou. Now would be a good time to do it. Like the last caller. Yep. Sometimes I think I'm just like a glutton for punishment, or something. I don't know. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou too.
Uncle Lou, hey buddy, this is Caleb from Columbus. How you doing today?
What's up, Caleb? I need to know who's going to finish third in the East and who's going to finish third in the West.
Hey, bro, I'm a step ahead of you now. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't know if I've seen many people pick this. The third, who will finish third in the West, the 28 or the 2018 season? I'm going to go with Mississippi State, and there's a lot of reasons why. Their non-conference sets up perfectly the first 3 games that they're going to play out of conference. La Tech, Louisiana Lafayette, and Stephen A. Austin. Obviously, easy win games. Kansas State, Kentucky, Florida, Texas A&M, Arkansas. I look for them to go 4-1 in that stretch of 5 games. They do have to play Auburn. I consider that a toss-up. LSU, I consider that a toss-up. I think Ole Miss, I'm going to say that's going to be a toss-up as well. I've got them going 9-3 next year. Right behind Auburn will be number 2. Alabama will be number 1. As far as in the East, I'm going with Florida to finish third in the East. Now, that was a little bit tricky because I wanted to put Florida at 4th and Missouri at 3, but I just think that Florida's going to come out third in the East over Missouri. Missouri comes in 4th. South Carolina number 2, and Georgia number 1 in the East. So in the West will be Mississippi State. In the East, I'm going to have to go with Florida.
Every single caller has picked Mississippi State as third in the West.
Really?
Yeah.
That's my bad, man. I had to take the dogs out, so I probably missed a few
Well,
of them.
that's. I mean, no. I'm not saying it for that. I'm saying I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised that somebody said Mississippi State. I'm surprised everyone has said it. No, I'm surprised there hasn't been anybody that has said LSU, or I'm surprised there hasn't been anybody that has said Auburn, maybe thinking Auburn would slip up, this year or whatever and finish third. I'm just surprised that it's been 100% Mississippi State. The East has been a little harder. We've had some Florida, we've had some Kentucky. I think we had a South Carolina too.
Okay. So the guy that called in before me, I caught the last bit of y'all's conversation. Did he say that Tennessee could very well win a national championship, not this year but next?
He was trolling. He also said that Vanderbilt was winning the national title this year, and that I think Oklahoma State was winning it this year, and Miami's winning it. And he has diarrhea of the mouth. That's all.
I was hoping he didn't get hit in the head or something. I mean, it sounded pretty ridiculous to say that Tennessee in the next 2 years may compete for a national title.
That's sort of his thing.
Fan of that.
He calls up once a week and says things like Vandy's winning a national title, or Oklahoma State, or Tennessee, or just off the wall. He just and then he waits on this video to upload to YouTube, and then he just watches it back 15, 20, 30, 40 times a day. Watches his own call back on the show. He just enjoys that.
Well, hey, man, I saw a list that came out on Bleacher Report earlier this morning that said that, and I'm not saying that I disagree, but it had Kirby Smart ranked as the 3rd best coach in the SEC. Not much to work with. Of course, they had Fisher at number 2 because he has a national title. I would have on some serious glasses for Georgia if I said that I thought we should, or that Smart should be number 2. But I think in years to come, I think Kirby will eventually pass Fisher up for the number 2 head coach in the SEC.
Yeah, my issue with Jimbo Fisher being ahead of Kirby, well, I don't know. I mean, you can't. He did win a national title, and you can't take that away. But
Exactly.
he had Jameis Winston. You know, I mean, Gene Chizik won a national title with Cam Newton. Do you think Gene Chizik is a better head coach than Kirby Smart? No.
No, he can't even coach the freaking defense for Duke.
Right.
I mean,
and that's sort of my point. If a coach, and I've talked about this before, but if a coach wins a national title, why is Vince Dooley never talked about as one of the greatest coaches in history? He won a national title. Why not? He did it with the greatest player in college football history, and then he never did it again. Jimbo Fisher did it with Jameis Winston. I like to see a coach do it more than once with a different set of players before I want to move them into the elite category. Urban Meyer's done it at 2 different schools with multiple groups of players. Bama's done it with Nick Saban over a 10-year period, you know, so he's had players shuffle in and out. There's no one player he won a title with. You know, so even Pete Carroll at Southern Cal, outside of the Reggie Bush years, there was nothing fantastic going on out there with him. So, you know, it's hard to do it multiple times, and that would be my knock against Jimbo Fisher right now, is that he really hasn't done anything without Jameis Winston.
That's exactly what I mean, if you look back at Florida State, he had some good seasons in the ACC. I mean, it's not like they were playing in the Big Ten or the SEC. He had some decent seasons, but he never really came to national prominence until he got Jameis Winston, the crab thief, BB gun shooting, coke stealing from Burger King fella. I mean, he was a good quarterback, but
right.
That's really all he had that got him to national prominence, I think. You know, but we'll see what he can do at Texas A&M. I'm gonna give him a year or two to rebuild and kind of get his players in there and the culture. But I think, you know, now at the SEC, I think there's a shift, man. I think there's a shift of dominance that's going from the west to the east at this point. There's a few reasons for that. Obviously, you know, you have teams from the east that are getting back to where they should be. You know, namely Georgia, South Carolina is getting back up to, you know, 8-9 win team. I like Dan Mullen. You know, he didn't. I don't think he's going to do anything in his first year or two there, but he finds a way to get a decent guy in there to play quarterback. You know, he did it at Mississippi State. I think he'll be able to find somebody to play quarterback at Florida, and I think he'll probably be able to put better talent around that person at Florida than he was able to at Mississippi State. Whether or not he can get the talent to a point where they can compete, you know, is yet to be seen. But I think, you know, in time he will be able to kind of get more talent around a really good quarterback like he's been known to get, but hadn't been able to get the talent. But it's just like in the same video that I watched of you this morning, State is up there at number 12 in the rankings right now, and Florida's back at number 25. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, and I give Florida and Dan Mullen a hard time for obvious reasons. I'm a Georgia fan, and this is primarily a trash talk channel. I don't really think Dan Mullen is a terrible coach, but I do think that it's a little. I think it's ridiculous. Listen, Mississippi State is not the worst football team in the history of America. They're not. There are plenty of teams that are year in and year out worse than Mississippi State. But only Mississippi State, and particularly Dan Mullen, has the worst record against ranked teams in the history of the AP poll. History. I mean, that goes back. When did the AP poll start? In the 40s? 50s? I don't know. But a long time ago. I don't care that he has to play Alabama every year. Okay, guess who else has played Alabama every year? Butch Jones, Derek Dooley, Lane Kiffin, Gene Chizik. How many bad coaches has Auburn had over the years that played Alabama every single year? They didn't have the worst record against ranked opponents in the history of the AP poll. Only Dan Mullen did. That's it. So I got to see this guy win some games. You know, he's going to have to get a quarterback, like you said. Without a quarterback, he's about as useless as, insert whatever analogy here, but I don't think he's a
Anybody
terrible
usually
coach,
has
but
the back pocket on a T-shirt without a quarterback.
yeah. But the recruiting thing, and see here, the point of my video sort of got lost a little with all the trash talking that was in it. But you can't be a Florida fan who's telling me we're going to be elite because we're getting Dan Mullen. You know, look what he did at Mississippi State. He was the only reason Mississippi State was even relevant. You can't tell me all that and then take a Florida team to Mississippi State and lose. If Florida takes with Dan Mullen, if that's all Mississippi State had was Dan Mullen, and it's obviously not the recruiting because that's flip-flop now. Mississippi State is 12 or 13, Florida's 25. If you take that Florida team to Starkville and lose, Florida fan looks like a complete idiot. I can't wait.
I 100% agree. You know, especially with Mississippi State has a good quarterback coming back. They have what I think is going to turn out to be a decent head coach in
Matt Rule, I think.
Moorhead, but
Moorhead, yeah.
Huh?
What's his name?
Moorhead.
Moorhead, yeah.
Last name Jim Moore. No, not Jim Moorhead.
Jerry. I don't know.
What is that guy?
Rule is the guy at Ole Miss, ain't he? I guess I don't know. I get those teams confused, but I mean, you know, it's just you can't lose that game. You know, I tell Florida fan, like Lance from Jasper, I said, look, man, Nick Fitzgerald's a better quarterback than any quarterback y'all have. Florida fans tell me, no. Nick Fitzgerald's only good because he has Dan Mullen. He was a 3-star recruit. Nick Fitzgerald's no good. Okay. Well, Dan Mullen's not there anymore. So if it's all Dan Mullen, then Felipe Franks will be as good or better than Nick Fitzgerald this year because he was more highly rated out of high school than Nick Fitzgerald was. So if it's all Dan Mullen, I expect Felipe Franks to come out and rush for 700 or 800 yards this year and throw for 2,500.
Lance said it was going to be that Jones kid.
Yeah, Lance thinks it's going to be Emory Jones. I'm not convinced yet that that's going to happen. I'm not convinced of that yet, especially in the first game. It wouldn't surprise me to see 3 quarterbacks play in that first game for Florida. It's a nobody team. I had the schedule pulled up here. Let me pull it back up. Where'd it go? Here we go.
Stop trolling me!
Charleston Southern, they play week 1. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Mullen play 3 quarterbacks in Charleston Southern and then hell yeah, their first 3 games, really, Charleston Southern, Kentucky, and Colorado State. I mean, you might see 3 quarterbacks in all 3 of those games before they pick a winner to go on the road at Tennessee.
And you know, that's going to be a good game too. I don't know though. I think they're going to have a rough first year, man. I think they're going to have a rough first year.
I do too.
Florida,
now,
I still put them third in the East.
Yeah, and Lance, you know, freshman quarterbacks have been the last couple of years. Emory Jones is not Jake Fromm. He's not Tua Tagovailoa. He's I mean, I think Emory Jones can be a good quarterback, but he's going to need a year to. Does anybody really think Florida's going on the road at Tennessee with Emory Jones and winning that game? I don't. As much as I hate Tennessee, I don't think they would win. Jake Fromm won his first start on the road at Tennessee. You think Emory Jones can make his first road start at Tennessee and win? I don't.
No, and I think most of the freshmen that come out and do well during their freshman campaign, if they do play as a freshman, they come out and do well. It's more of an anomaly than a commonplace thing. Even Aaron Murray, who set passing records in the SEC, even Aaron Murray took a red shirt and then came out and started all 4 seasons after that.
Yeah.
But Aaron Murray took a red shirt.
And let's be real.
Great quarterbacks still take a red shirt and learn to play for. They get chemistry with the wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that have to be done during that freshman season, and you probably don't need to see the field. You know, a lot of times the only reason that we even played Prom really last year is because we had a guy go out in the first game, like the first quarter.
Yeah.
You know,
and I mean, let's be. And let's be real, and I don't want to take anything away from Jake Fromm. I mean, I'm happier than a pig in poop with the way he played last year. But look at the team around him, and look at the team that would be around Emory Jones.
Oh.
I mean, that has something to do with it too. That has something to do with freshman success at the quarterback position too. I mean, you put Jake Fromm on Tennessee's team last year, he's not as good. I mean, that's right.
No,
I mean, come on. So it matters that what's around you matters. And listen, I've heard Florida fans rattle off this list of players. Most of them I've never heard of, I guess, because they were suspended last year. I mean, I do know Jordan Scarlett's an okay running back. I do like that Cleveland guy they got as a wide receiver. I mean, I know they're going to have a couple of playmakers or whatever, but offensive line is a huge question mark for Florida. And I am not a believer in Florida's defense anymore. I just think that Muschamp's players is what carried that team. Yeah, and it carried that team to 2 East titles under Jim McElwain. And those players are gone, and I'm just not a believer in Florida's defense. Florida's been scoring 22, 23 points a game for the last 3 or 4 seasons. If they don't get up closer to 30 or over, they can forget about having a shot to win the East, because Georgia's going to be lighting it up this year. I mean, Georgia's going to be scoring 35, 40 points a game.
Oh, of course. Of course. Last question for you, my man. I got to ask you this. I just sit around all day. I just read sports articles. And I read one just the other day. It was on ESPN, the app, and I forget who the writer was, but he said he actually made some pretty good points, but I don't know if I agree with it or not. I was going to get your take on this. He was saying that it really doesn't matter who starts for Alabama at quarterback. It really doesn't matter because of the talent around him, and that's what the same thing that you just said about Fromm. His first season, he did really well because there was a lot of talent around him, and the playbook was limited, and he had a great stable of backs behind him. Same thing at Alabama. It really doesn't matter, which is not the same because it's not a freshman, but he was making the point that it really didn't matter who plays quarterback for Alabama this year.
Well, I agree with that to a certain extent.
It's not going to have a different kind of result.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is not beating Georgia.
No.
Or insert pretty much any other team here. I mean, so to a certain degree, it's true. It doesn't matter. But like Jake Fromm is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. Jake Fromm is a better quarterback than Kelly Bryant at Clemson. Jake Fromm is a good enough quarterback to win it all. Will it happen? We don't know. Alabama's not beating an elite defense with Jalen Hurts. Forget it. I mean, if you take away his running ability and the guy looks, I mean, he's lost. He looks like an ostrich standing on one leg with his head in the sand. I mean, that guy didn't have a clue what he was doing in that national title game. So I don't understand what Nick Saban's doing. Well, I think I understand it. He's trying to keep him from transferring. But, I mean, how much of an expert do you really need to be to just realize Jalen Hurts is not the answer there? I don't know.
He's a one-dimensional quarterback, and it's the worst one-dimension a quarterback can have is running.
Yeah.
If it's a one-dimension, you would like to have a passing quarterback. He can stay in the pocket, and he can throw the ball. But if you're a one-dimensional quarterback and all you can do is run, it's not going to work out pretty well. And I'm going to leave you with this, because I know you probably have some more. It's past the 1 hour mark for you here, but I'm going to leave you with this. I think if Smart and Mel Tucker had a year to watch film on Tua, I don't think Tua would be able to beat us in a national championship game, or even in the a regular season game, if it was at the end of the year, or SEC championship game. I think if we had some film on him, I don't believe Tua would even be able to beat us either.
It would definitely be a totally different scenario. 100. It would be. It wouldn't be what we saw in the second half of the national title game, where
no.
I mean, let's just be honest. For whether it was the right thing to do or not, Kirby Smart, Mel Tucker, and the Georgia staff spent 0 time preparing for Tua heading into the national championship game. They spent 100% of their time on Jalen Hurts, and guess what? They did a damn good job. Jalen Hurts looked like he'd never played football before. But when they put Tua in, we were totally unprepared. Totally unprepared. And I don't blame Kirby for that. I'm not saying it's his fault or anything like that. I mean, Tua had only played garbage time all year long. It's not like you assumed he was coming in. So I'm not blaming Smart for that. It just was obvious we did not prepare to stop a passing attack from Alabama.
Exactly. The oldest quarterback you have to play against that has trouble throwing the ball but can run. If you shut that run game down and force him to throw, you're gonna force turnovers. You're gonna get great third and long looks, you know, and that's what happened. It's the oldest trick in the book. If you know the quarterback can't throw, shut the run game down and make him make mistakes, and that's what he did. But yeah, it's just like you said, man. As soon as Tua came out, there, you know, we didn't get a good look at him. I mean, we had never really seen what he could do, and you know, unfortunately for us. But I think we had some film on him. Yeah, man, it would be a whole different story.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, let me run. I appreciate the call.
All right, buddy. Yes, sir. I will talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Yeah, Caleb checking in there. Alonzo, good morning, sir. If you guys aren't subscribed to Alonzo, the Miami fan, Alonzo 1219, to you family, make sure you sub him up. Most of you might already be subscribed to him, but if you're not, he makes Miami Hurricanes videos. So Dennis, you should definitely subscribe to him since you're a Hurricanes fan. But the rest of y'all subscribe to him too. Show him some love. But that's gonna do it for today's show. Per usual, it's 145 degrees in my grandma's basement down here, and I'm losing weight just sitting here. And I really can't afford to lose any at this point. Yeah. But thanks for all the calls. Good calls today. I didn't even have to get aggravated with trolls breathing in the phone or anything like that, which was amazing, unbelievable, really. Don't forget to click the link in the description of the video. Support the Uncle Lou Show. Enter to win a jersey. I would appreciate it. And this show will air again Wednesday at 3 p.m. And SEC videos all this week. It's SEC week here on Lou 2. Appreciate y'all watching, and y'all have a great morning also. And